1965, and Hugh B. Brown came to our mission, President McKay's first counselor, and he asked for a zone meeting in Mendoza so the elders from San Rafael, San Juan, Godoy Cruz, and Mendoza, La Serra all met. There were about 40 of us, including 5 or 6 native Argentines who were construction missionaries. And Elder Brown said, Elder Crockett, why don't you translate for these construction missionaries as I give my remarks? And so that was the 5th and last time that I translated. And I was translating along. He was giving a great talk about how to be a worthy missionary, have the Spirit with you, and really saying wonderful things. And he spoke deliberately and slowly. It was easy to translate. But then he stopped right in the middle and he said, that's all I'm going to say about that. You're not going to hear anything else about it because I've just been prompted to make a prophecy. And he said, I prophesy in the name of Christ that there is an elder in this mission who will stand in the highest councils of the church one day. He is an elder who will never do or say anything that would disappoint his mother. And he will strive with all his might to please his Heavenly Father and Jesus Christ. And then he said, mark my words, he is in this mission. Well, at the time I thought, boy, I'm going to take down the names of every elder here and watch to see if it's one of them. Because there were 3 or 4 elders there that probably qualified. They were really super righteous. And I still have the little book with all the names listed in my journal. And so for years after my mission, I always watched when they would call general authorities at general conference to see if it was someone from my mission. And it never was until, I can't even remember the exact year. It was about 35 years later when Elder D. Todd Christofferson was called. And I recognized the name immediately when they announced it in general conference. And to make sure, I went back to the newspaper, or the mission newsletters that I had saved from my mission, and sure enough, and he had been that very day about 500 miles north of where Elder Brown made that prophecy. He was in a town called Salta, and I had been in Salta previous to him. I never met Elder Christofferson until after our mission. Then I had the opportunity to meet him one day as he was out in his front yard pulling weeds out of his wife's flower bed. And my best friend lived right around the corner from him. Their backyards abutted each other. They had a wall between them. And I stopped. I said, "You're Elder Christofferson, aren't you?" And he said, "Yes." "Who are you?" I told him my name, and he said, "Oh, yeah." He said, "I've read about you in the North Argentine Mission newsletter." I said, "I read about you too." And So we greeted each other and talked about the mission and so forth. Not on that occasion, but later I shared with my best friend the story about the prophecy. And he told Elder Christofferson, and he asked me to write it up and send it to Elder Christofferson, which I did. He emailed me back and he said, he knew by then, because my friend told him that I had had open heart surgery. I was still recovering from it. And he wrote me back and he thanked me. He said, I heard occasionally a whisper or two about such a prophecy. But he said, I never heard all the details like you've related. And he said, I've shared what you told me with all my family and my wife. And he said, it really means a lot to us. And he said, in return, I'm going to do you a favor. And he knew I had congestive heart failure. He said, I'm going to put your name on the prayer roll of the first presidency in the Quorum of the 12. We meet every Thursday morning and your name will be on that prayer roll. And since then we've corresponded. In fact, I got a Christmas card from him just a month ago. And,
Did you actually?
but that was quite an experience. I think he could very well be in the first presidency someday. He's about 5 out right now, but he's young compared to most of the apostles in my age, almost 80, and I think he very well could be. In his card to me last month, he said, it'll interest you to know that I've been invited to go to Salta in March or April, I think he said, to dedicate the new temple there. So he said, I'm really excited to be back in the mission. He's a cool guy.
That's awesome.
He's brilliant person. Yeah, I've written that one up.